From 1994 to 2000, I lived in New York, in Manhattan. I was there long enough where I started to feel like it was one of my cities. It was home for me. I left at the end of 2000, which means that now I've seen apocalypses unfold in New York twice on television. I wasn't there for September 11th and I wasn't there for Sandy, but I feel them. I feel the losses of a city. Well, it's been long enough since the hurricane passed that you can start to see, I'm glad to say, the beginnings of a return to functionality in New York. The subways don't all work yet, but you can hear about the MTA pumping out the tunnels. The power will come back on. Things might still be worse than we think in Staten Island, New Jersey, but you can imagine a return to the New York that I knew. There's a word for that concept. It's called resilience. And resilience is kind of meaning a lot of things to urban thinkers now, but in this case it means the ability to withstand a disaster, right? And as we talk more about what to do in New York, you'll start to hear some really interesting ideas to keep the city resilient, like raised subway entrances to keep water from infiltrating in another storm surge, let's say. Things like the storm gates on the Thames outside London are the ones they've been planning for a long time in Venice. You know, these are all important ideas. They're, I think, half of what is an emerging critical argument in urbanism. The other half is summed up roughly by another word, sustainability. So sustainability is making sure that you have things like green rooftops, let's say, to keep water from running off of roofs as quickly, or bioswales or permeable pavement to let water infiltrate into the ground instead of going into storm centers. And it's things like bike lanes, making a city's carbon footprint less, reducing a heat island effect. You know, cities are becoming more and more important on Earth. The biggest cities, the ones with increasing populations, are also on coastlines. Coastlines are the most vulnerable to disasters, to rising sea level and increasingly powerful storms. So we have to start thinking of what we're going to do about cities in the context of disasters. I'm oversimplifying this, and I hope that you'll write in and tell me if I get these definitions wrong, but the resilientists are folks like, I think, like the new urbanists who want to take largely greenfield places without buildings on them and build like human-scale downtowns and things that look a little bit like suburbs and have places that are built to be a little bit disaster-proof. And the sustainabilists are folks like, I don't think they even know what they're going to call themselves yet, the landscape urbanists or the landscape ecologists or whatever, the ones who are interested in nature, the kind of folks who built the High Line in New York, let's say, who are interested in having cities that incorporate nature into them. And I'm probably oversimplifying this, and I don't mean to make the resilientists out to be defeatists, because they're coming up with a lot of important ideas too, and you know, the superstorms aren't going to go away. This is the new normal. This is the way the world looks now. We need to figure out how to defend our cities against it. But my worry is that, as in matters of war, we tend to plan for the last disaster. And I'd like to be a little more sustainable about this. I would like instead for us to think about ways to avoid the next one.